Well, hello, I'm Andrew Jenkins, and a welcome to this next video in the series that I've put together, these videoettes about the 7 steps to high performance. This is the third video in a series of 6, and this little video, outlines the first of the 7 stages of high performance, called "What are high performance teams all about?" And it introduces several simple notions, which in themselves are powerful in themselves. But firstly, look, any team in any business, in any sector, can become a high-performing team. It can be a leadership team, it can be a board team, it can be an executive team, it can be any level in your organisation, it can be engineering, HR, operations, it doesn't matter. Any team can become a high-performing team. And it doesn't matter if that team is service-led, if it's a project delivery team, or if it's a product delivery business. Doesn't matter. High performance applies in whatever team. And high-performing teams can all be located as an intact team in one location, or in multiple locations. You can be online, it can be in person, or it can be a hybrid of all of those things. It doesn't matter. The key thing is that any team can become a high-performance team. Next, none of this program is actually rocket science. Okay, you've probably along the way come across these kind of learnings before in different circumstances, and it can, because of that, it might to you look maybe a bit simple, but it's more subtle than that, because it's not obvious. There's a lot more to this program than might first meet the eye, than you might first think. A good way of describing this is a thing called the Dunning-Kruger effect. Let me just bring a little diagram of what that means is. Okay, so here from left to right, you might first go, what's all this about? Okay, let me just pay attention here. Okay, and then you might quickly, wrongly, actually, you might quickly think, do you know what? I know everything there is to know about this. I've done all these courses, I've been there, done it. There's nothing new to learn here. But you know what? As you go through this program, you start to ride through this curve from left to right. You start to realise quite quickly, look, maybe there's more to this than I first gave it credit for, than I first thought. And then there comes a point where, oh gosh, maybe I'm just missing the point here. Maybe I've just misunderstood all the kind of training I've had before on this, because actually this is more subtle than I first thought about it. And then, as you ride through the curve from left to right, then you start, okay, this is starting to make sense. And then at the end of this journey, you might think, trust me, you might think it's simple, but actually it's more complicated than you first might think. And it needs some effort to understand the kind of principles that we're talking about here, because they are simple in concept, but there's a lot to unpacking them, right? That's the Dunning-Kruger effect. Okay, so back to my original wider screen. There we go. Okay, so next, as mentioned in the introduction video, which was the first video in this series of 6, this program will require you as individuals and as a team to think bigger, to play that bigger game, right, that we talked about in video 1, and to think differently about managing yourself, managing other people, and it's about developing your soft skills, your own soft skills, and other people's soft skills you develop together, and that collective emotional intelligence, about building that emotional intelligence as a collective team and as individuals, and understanding the subtler, there's that word again, the subtler management aspects of the people factor. And I use that word very, very specifically. It's a really important word in this whole program, because it's all about the people factor. Now, another notion at play here in this 7 stages to developing high-performing teams is this notion of different perspectives create greater wisdom, right? Wisdom comes from multiple perspectives is the key presupposition here. Now, for example, let me just flip onto a little diagram for you. You might have seen this before, I hope you have. This is simply called the old woman or young woman, old woman. Now, I'm not going to explain this diagram too much. If you haven't seen it before, go and Google it, and if you can only see the old woman or the young woman, what do you see here? Do you just see the old woman, or do you see the young woman, or do you see both? Now, most people, I suppose, when I introduce this, will see one before the other, or will see the old woman quicker than the young woman, or the other way around, right? Vice versa. And that just goes to show that, the principle behind this image is that your unique we each have a unique perception, but sometimes we may need a little bit of help to see other viewpoints that are equally as important as our own, because if we just stay in our own shoes for too long, we can become a little bit distorted. And what high-performing teams do is they collect data from multiple perspectives, because that gives them more and more information. And in this rapidly changing world, that's where high-performing teamwork really comes to its own, because it appreciates, as I said, those multiple perspectives. Now, finally, to start this learning process to become a high-performing team, it's useful to firstly benchmark individual perspectives of each member of the whole team. Now, to do this, this is just one of the exercises of this particular unit. I'm just highlighting this one, just an example for you. I have developed a team assessment questionnaire. And that questionnaire, that team assessment questionnaire, it covers multiple dimensions, multiple perspectives of high performance teamwork relevant to the kind of general health of your team, its posivity or not, and its collaborative teamwork abilities or not. It doesn't matter. It's a benchmarking process, right? Just benchmarks you, that's all. And for your information, I think one of the key points here is that, look, spending time here, it's really important that we spend time to reflect on this collated data. And a lot of teams that I've used this with get a lot of value out of just reflecting on that data and what it means for them as a collective team, and really letting it land for themselves. Now, for your information, the team assessment will be done again at the end of this program. And the reason for that is that kind of, we've got a before picture, we've got an after picture, so we can measure some differences, right? So now in the next video, video 4, actually, I will briefly outline the second of the 7 stages to high performance development, which is developing a growth mindset. Now, here we build further from this learning unit that I'm just describing right now, and developing a growth mindset, in a nutshell, is really about moving from a sort of fixed mindset to more a growth mindset, to choose to be more agile, more adaptable to change, because we are living in a world of constant change. And that's where developing a growth mindset really comes to the fore. And then we develop on from there with later units. So now I'll finish this just with a quick health warning, as I do with all of these videos. Look, this program is much, much, much more than its content. And the bigger game at play here is the way this program is delivered. And that's the key to its game-changing success. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next video very shortly. Thank you again. Cheers for now.